As time goes on, I'm not sure if it's as I'm getting older, it's coming with age, or I don't know. I'm starting to let go of ideals, and I mean that in a way of I used to be so staunchly opposed to the idea of going camping without being able to have a fire. I just refused to go, so I wouldn't camp for 6 months of the year, or I would drive, double my trip to be able to get to an area where I knew I'd be able to have a fire. I don't so much care about that anymore. I have let go of the idea that it's not camping, or you can't go camping in more populated areas like these depot sites and booked areas where they're going to be more populated, have more people. Yeah, sure, I can hear a little bit of chatter or the old car coming in and out, but look where I am. I'm in a thick jarrah forest in one of the most insanely stunning places in Western Australia. And like, who gives a toss? You don't always have to be trying to make it epic or stick to all your ideals that I suppose maybe you've created in your head, or that you've seen someone else say, or um, even embarrassed to admit that you camp in depot sites. Or some of my most enjoyed peaceful nights out bush have ironically been in this kind of camping environment. By the time the sun goes down, everyone's quiet, keep to themselves. It's dark, you wouldn't even know anyone's around, and I compare that to these days now, where I go back to the free camping spots that I've been to for so many X amount of years, and you go out to those spots to be more remote and away from the crowds, and they're some of the most heavily populated areas you go to. And not only are they heavily populated, but they attract the most unsavoury sort of people that you want to have around you, because they're there to blow off steam and do burnouts and play obnoxious music and just terrorise the bush. At least I know when I come here that, for the most part, the people that are paying to come to these areas are going to be far more quiet and far more respectful than all the yobbo dickheads that I just endlessly keep finding out in those free camp spots now in this day and age, which is a crying shame, but it's just a fact. It just is what it is. So I find myself letting go of that ideal of having to go drive 100 k's out into the bush to find a primo little remote spot out on the river or something, and once you've got there, you realise that you're just around a whole pile of morons. It's ironic. I'd much rather be here, somewhere like this, where I'm not seeing rubbish, I'm not seeing the disrespect, I'm not seeing an area absolutely abused, I'm not seeing people that I don't want to be around, than be out there and be able to say, oh, well, I free camped, I was remote, but I've got to put up with all that nonsense that I've just got absolutely no time for. There's no rubbish, there's no toilet paper laid around, there's not a speck of rubbish, there's not a single wet wipe dumped on the floor, there's not a single piece of toilet paper, there's not even a bottle cap laying on the ground. Like, it is just immaculate. I don't have to clean up my campsite before I set up. It's there are pros and cons to everything, and now I'm focusing a lot on all the pros of camping in this style of campsite, and it goes for hip camps as well. I'm now focusing on all the pros of these particular camping areas now that I used to overlook when I was younger, or maybe age has nothing to do with it, but in a different mindset about camping that I appreciate now, that I overlooked, big time overlooked. What anyone else thinks. It's the biggest thing that as I'm getting older, it's the biggest thing that I'm now realising and accepting. What anyone else thinks. I couldn't care less.